Okay, hello and welcome back everyone. Today I have this on my table, which is a Jupiter 3 Red P version. So as you can see, this is my Jupiter 3. Let me go shine some light on it. This is from this factory, which is not Kiev and not KMC. I'm not sure what this factory is. The Jupiter 3, see Jupiter 3 f1.5 50mm Red P 1961. It's got a 15 blade aperture and has zero funky, which is very rare for a lens that I've bought. And these people go again cutting up some stones for no reason. Yeah, this is like super clean, the glass department. Let me go try and focus. This is very clean glass. It's really been taken after. Only problem with this thing is the scratches in the front, which is, I'd say, normal for all Jupiter lenses, because all my Jupiters have scratches, so I count that as normal. Then for what I got with this thing, I actually got this with the plastic caps that you normally find from China, and another cap like this, which is a cheap plastic one, and this. But I happen to have this, which is the Jupiter 3 cap laying around at home, and also Jupiter 3 Kiev housing. So if you can actually read Russian or Cyrillic, do you like to call it, this actually says, try and focus, photo objective Jupiter 3 fotoaparatu Kiev, and this says sold for 30 rubles. So this was essentially a Kiev case for Jupiter 3, and I can guarantee you this thing actually fits perfectly. See, push this thing in, it does slop around for a while, then when you close the lid on this thing, it does not wobble at all, which is perfect, just what I need. So then you can take this out. Mounting it on my Sony A7S, which has become a Yashica G7S because of the fact that I've stuck my Yashinon's logo on my A7S, which is like super useless, but I just did it for like the heck of it essentially. And let me go mount this thing onto my A7S. I'm using a vodka adapter, which I've used for like years and years now. And vodka adapters have always been nice, have never given me problems, so that's what I'm gonna use. There you go, focuses properly, nice. The results you get from this thing are like out of this world. Like, look at this. This is the flare test. This thing does like to flare a bit. Then let's see, this is like how it renders the bokeh and stuff. I'd say this thing's very well built. Like, you actually see this actually is really nice, to be honest. So for the colors, I'd say this thing is really Jupiter-like, which is obviously pretty normal, obviously, because this thing is a Jupiter, not like a T-star coated size Sonar 50 1.5. This thing, I'd say, shares quite a lot with the Jupiter 8. Let me go take my Jupiter 8. Wait. Okay, so this is my Jupiter 8. This thing actually has the cap I got for the Jupiter 3 on. It is. And for size, they're actually pretty similar. Only thing is the Jupiter 8 is actually, they're actually the same size. Infinity and Infinity. This thing actually goes, oh no, yeah, the Jupiter 3 is like 1 or 2 mil longer, and the optics, they actually show quite a large difference. Yeah, so this thing actually has pretty vibrant purple coatings, and this thing has like an uncoated, only single coated I think, optic on the Jupiter 8M. Cause this thing has a Red P logo right there. This thing is actually multi-coated, or I should say coated, because I'm not sure if it's multi-coated or not. Then for the optical size, they're pretty different. The 3 is way larger than the 8, and let me show you the back element. The back element on these two are actually pretty different, let's say. See, this thing's like 1.5 times the size of this, I think. For the front, they're also pretty different. Okay, so then let's say why did I just buy this thing? I bought it because of the fact that I found one for cheap. I found one for like less than half the price that they normally sell for around my place right here, which is essentially normal eBay pricing, but in Indonesia everything goes up. So this I'd say is a lucky find. And let's talk about build quality for a while. So build quality, I'd say that this thing is not bad. The focus is smooth, but not the smoothest. My Zeiss Flactagon that I reviewed last time, I overviewed last time, that thing was way smoother than this thing in terms of focusing. The aperture was also not that smooth. It actually sometimes like jumps a bit, like it has not enough crease or the crease is pretty old. And I would say that's true because of the fact that if you look at the lens, we could unmount the lens from the adapter to show you. This, as you can see, has never been cleaned in its life. Look at the tabs right there, the tabs, black things right there. They're totally black, have no like cleaning stuff on it, which is always a good sign. The front looks like it hasn't been tampered with, so that's a really good sign also. I think that probably means that this thing has never been taken apart at all in its whole life, and that also should mean that this thing still has original crease. To the feeling that I get from this thing, it shouldn't be, but it might also be because of the fact that there's some granules inside the crease. So I'm not very sure about that, but it does look like that's the case, or the guy that opened this thing has to be like super careful or something like that. And I would assume that's the case because obviously I'm not sure if somebody can actually take care of these lenses for like 60 years without having any fungi or something like grow on it. This is 1960, so it's like, yeah, 60 years old. So then for the build, I've said for the build, the aperture blades on mine are pretty dry, not like the Jupiter 9. My Jupiter 9 had like some WD-40 obviously because of the fact that I was like trying to fix the focusing mechanism, and I squirted some inside and it just seeped everywhere, so I had to like totally dismantle that thing. For this thing I'm not gonna do it. I'm not even gonna take this thing apart because of how good this thing is, and the fact that it actually looks pretty cool on my 7S. Like, ignore the Yashica patch, it's actually Sony, so if you didn't know that and thought that Yashica made like a Sony copy, it is a Sony 7S. Not the 3 but just the 7. So then, put it on. To be honest, I think if Fuji actually made like a full frame camera, I'd just buy it. Like, with the X model, I mean. So, the lenses are probably a bit cheaper and a lot of adapters are already available, so. But the thing is that, I'd say that if you could like remove this top bit on the A7S, you could probably have like a pretty nice street machine right here, because this lens is really cool. Although it does not, I mean, I should say this, it does not gather in the same amount of light as other f1.5 or f1.4 lenses. I would compare this thing more to like the Canon LTM, I think, in the light gathering department, but this lens is really cool, like literally really cool. Cause the fact that I like the colors actually, the colors and how this thing produces images, they're actually really nice. And for why these things are not very common, I think the price actually says it for itself. These things cost like 2.2 million on eBay without shipping, and shipping to Indonesia is like more or less 400,000. So 2.6 million rupiah is about $200, I'd say, about thereabout, like a bit under $200. And to have a lens that costs $200 is pretty big, to be honest. Like having a vintage lens that's like more than 60 years old, something 60 years old costing $200, which is pretty crazy, to be honest. But actually works, and works pretty beautifully, so that's why I like it. I might not even sell this thing. That's like the same thing I said about the Yashinon, the Yashica 45mm f1.7. I think I've also not sold that thing because of how good that thing is. That thing is like made by me, adjusted by me, and used by me. So that's like the three best things you can actually have from a lens. This I did not make myself, but judging from how I'm talking about this lens, you must know that I really like it. And I've liked all the Jupiters I've tried, actually, to be honest. I've tried the Jupiter 8, 8M, Jupiter 3, and the 9. The 9 I also got a Red P version, but with the contact RF mount. Now if you're looking at this, you're like, probably, why the heck does this thing look like a shuttlecock? Yeah, it is a shuttlecock, I think. More or less because of the fact that this thing has a contact RF to E mount adapter. Now with my newest printing methods, essentially, this thing is really smooth. And the focus is also very smooth. For this thing, I'm actually using the same thing I actually use for my Yashinon and my other adapters also. This thing's an open sonar design. Somebody designed this thing, not me. But I like the design a lot. And and to be honest, this design actually is very, very good. So if you actually design the open sonar design, please contact me. I'd like to talk with you for a while, because this thing has actually helped me a ton, like with adapting old lenses, contact RF lenses, and yeah, things like that. So yeah, thank you for watching, everyone. If you haven't, please like, subscribe, and goodbye.